Hey guys, how's everyone doing tonight? It's our Friday night podcast with your host, yours truly. Tonight we're gonna have a fun podcast tonight, and I think this discussion is gonna be very interesting because this young lady that I have on tonight, I was actually one of her guests just a few days ago, this past Wednesday, and many of you know her. I know I have a lot of mutual friends with her, so that's awesome. She's based out of Florida, and I'm not going to drag this out any longer. Please welcome NonnaBoss.
Hey
As I pop her up
there.
here. Here we go. Hey. All right. So yeah, we were checking our audio before we did this and went live. Is everything sounding okay on your end right now?
There's still a little bit of feedback, but it's not like it's not as bad as it was. So I think we're
Okay.
good.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's because I got a fan blowing over here on the opposite side of my bed because I'm sitting right next to my bed where I always
You're,
do this.
and it's
So
probably
it,
picking up on your mic. That's probably it. Yeah.
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 Okay. So I need one of those special mics, but oh well. We'll make do, I guess. I mean, if it becomes annoying, I'll just let me know. I'll see. I'll go turn it off. so,
We're good.
uh,
We're good.
so yeah, my
Hey.
podcast it's pretty much laid back and chill like yours is. I mean, we just let it ride. We don't, some podcasts they go question for question. I mean, I like to leave things open. It makes
Yeah.
it more relaxed and just kind of
It,
go with the flow. So, um, I'll be watching the live chat the best I can. Right now it's only showing a few. They're slowly starting to grow up there right now. Let me click on my comments.
yeah.
All
People are
right.
gonna start filing in. But thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate you.
Oh,
Having me here
absolutely.
tonight. Thank you.
Most definitely. Uh, we have tea time with Tiffany. Um, okay. And she said she's in Virginia. All right.
Cool.
Um, yeah, we have Enjoy the Journey. That is Julie. She's from Pennsylvania.
Hey,
And of course,
Julie.
yeah, we got David, Lester, and so far that's the only ones that commented on the chat so far. So
Hey there,
that's cool.
David. It is. I
Yeah.
mean, it's Friday nights, unfortunately, Friday nights are jam-packed full
Oh
of,
yeah.
I mean, there's so many shows. I used to do my show on Friday night and Saturday nights, and I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
wow, it's flooded. For smaller channels like mine, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna get any traction doing that. So I moved
Right.
everything. I moved everything
Yeah.
to the earlier in the week thing.
Right. I mean, I went back and forth when I first started doing podcasts. I think I tried them on Saturdays, and then everybody that I knew was doing, yeah, like you said, there was a lot of them on Fridays. I mean, I know there's so many on Sundays, and so I just had to pick a day and just kind of stay with it.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
Friday nights seem to be pretty good for me. I mean, if I end up doing something else or going out and about or whatever, I mean, I'll just let everybody know. I say, oh, okay, no Friday night podcast, and so
Yeah.
if they want to listen to a podcast or they haven't listened to, they can browse through or they could go to my ECBRO Bigfoot Radio on any of their favorite podcast platforms. So,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah,
so
lots of options. Lots of options.
yeah,
Yeah,
tea
I also
time.
do you find do you find it though kind of like it can get in the way of your research, right? Like, because I was having that trouble too. I was like, I can't go out and research on the weekends if I'm constantly doing just podcast stuff Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm listening to you. I'm reading something. Okay, I know who you are, Tiffany. I'm sorry. I was reading Tiffany. I was like, wait, who's Tiffany? I was like, wait. I'm sorry, you're Tiffany Duran. Yeah, she lives about an hour and a half south of me. So, okay,
oh,
yeah, I'm on
cool.
her show. Yeah, I'm on her show on Tuesday. So, yeah. So, yeah, yes and no. It could get in my way. Friday night. I mean, like I said, if like this past week, I was out for a good week. I left out to go camping on a Friday. I
Hmm.
got back into service that following Monday. So, um, well, not that following Monday, but the Monday, yeah, a couple Mondays
Mhm.
afterwards. But um, yeah, when I do stuff like that, I usually try to, do announcements. So,
Yeah.
um, and just let everybody know. I mean, I don't really feel like too many people miss it too much. But again, if there's something, if I can't be there, yeah, if I think about it, like I said, I try to like, hey guys, check this out. I'll share a few things for them to look through, let them listen and check out because I'm sure there's some podcasts, not everyone I you know, have seen or whatever. Because I had so many um, from some years ago, and then plus there's so many new people watching and listening now. Um,
True.
so yeah, I always try to share things. Now your podcast, your YouTube channel, yeah. I don't know how long you've had yours, but it seems to be growing pretty well. Uh, I thought we could chat about that for a little bit. If you want to go ahead and talk about that a little bit. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I started in May of 2022. So, a little over a year. And I I I enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's a lot of fun for me because I enjoy just having people on like yourself, or I like to talk about research. I like to geek out on all the technology and all the different techniques that all the different researchers use. And, I, because like in my research down here, it's my son used to research with me, so I had a research partner.
Oh,
So
nice. Yeah.
that was wonderful. And then, his life kind of changed, circumstances changed, and I'm by myself now. So it's not as easy for me to research here in Florida by myself. So I'm trying to come up with creative ways to continue to do the boots on the ground stuff. So I'm working on. So I got some ideas. So I'll figure it out.
Oh yeah. Are you familiar with David Shealy?
Yes, I know Dave. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Have you
Yep.
ever tried to
Mhm.
meet up with him?
Yep,
Okay.
I've met Dave several times. I've met Dave several times. He's actually amazing, and his I was thinking, you and I had kind of talked like, hey, maybe we could get together and maybe do a little camp out here in Florida. And Dave Shealy's place is the one that I was have in mind actually, because he's
Mm.
got he's got Skunk Ape headquarters out in Ochopee, Florida, and he's got on the premises of the headquarters. He has his own. It's like his own kind of like camping area. So there are like open spaces for tent camping. He also has a few little cabins there on property, so people could kind of decide. Maybe they're not a tent camper, but maybe they're like some people I know, they like to go glamping instead of camping.
Yeah. Right.
And so, I thought maybe that might be something that we could utilize, and everybody can meet Dave, and see if we can make that work. You never know.
Yeah. Camping around his area, I would, I would be a little eerie camping in a tent down there. You don't know. I mean, you might have, gators come around. I don't know. You oh
you gotta you gotta live a little. Come on, you gotta live
nah.
a
I'm
little
usually
dangerous, right?
yeah. I know. I'm actually joking. I mean, I don't know. I would actually kind of maybe welcome a presence, but long as I don't get woke up with being bear hugged by a python or something, like wrapped
Yeah,
around.
right. Yeah. I mean, look, yeah, it's true though. I mean, down here and like when we research, like, I mean, I have two different pairs of snake boots, I've got the Kevlar kind, and I've got about $700 worth of two only in two sets of boots, like it's because we have it all down here. We have it all. It's a lot out there. So, when your boots on the ground down here, you gotta know what you're doing. So, you know,
Oh yeah,
yeah. I got,
absolutely.
I have a taser, and I have, like I take care of myself.
Okay. Yeah, it's good to have all those, even maybe a machete too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little something like that. You never
So
know with YouTube's algorithm what you can say and what you can't say these days. You know what I mean?
yeah. Now, just curious. I never hear mentions of UFO or alien research or anybody involved with that. Is there any interest down there in Florida when it comes to UFOs and aliens?
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah.
I do that too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do that too. I like to, I've tried, Dr. Greer's like CE5 method. My son and I tried that a few times. Unfortunately for us, it never really worked. What
Hmm.
usually worked for us, I know this sounds crazy, but there's this. Are you familiar with the Estes method in like paranormal research? Do you know that method?
I'm gonna be honest with you. No, I'm
No?
not.
Okay. So basically what it is you have just like these, like noise canceling headphones on, and you're blindfolded, and you have piped into your headset white noise, right? So all you're hearing is just that sweeping of the channels back and forth, that sweeping, right? So you have no spatial awareness, you know what I mean? You're like your senses are you're it's like sensory deprivation. So you're not seeing anything, and the only thing you're hearing is the sweeping of that the white noise going on. Then there's a person who is asking questions, and then whatever you hear, you say. So words, you'll hear words, you'll be able to pick up words because you're concentrating and you're not focusing on anything else. You're not focusing on anything that, because you have no vision. You're just, all you're hearing is that. And whatever words you hear, you're just going to say those words. So you don't have any idea what the question actually is. And every single time we try to do that method for ghost hunting, it never failed. We always ended up getting entities that were either ETs or interdimensional beings, something to that effect. Uh,
Hmm.
I do have abilities, so I don't know if that plays a factor in it. And the interesting thing is that usually whatever I'm getting, whatever answers and things that were the discussion that's taking place, um, we always have a visual. Matt always will look up and see something in the sky e- every single time. So yeah,
Hmm.
that seems to work for us.
Yeah, that's very cool. That is cool. Okay. Yeah, Tiffany seems to be familiar with that because she was commenting saying that's really cool. So
It
yeah.
is really cool. I really like doing it. I really like it a lot. I feel like it's very. Hold on, let me close my Facebook because I'm hearing dings all night long. Yeah, for me, I for me, I really like the Estes method. I feel like I can really tune in and channel because I sometimes I don't know what happens, and sometimes I will just start channeling things. I have on one occasion I have channeled a Sasquatch. I know that sounds so
Oh.
I know that sounds so weird, and I don't really talk about it all that much anymore because people are kind of like, "Oh, she's so crazy." But it did happen to me once. It really did happen, and it's a very odd story, and it left me with a deeper sense of who they are inside.
Hmm.
Their sense of humanity that they and their and how they think and feel about us. So, and
That's
I
very
do,
interesting.
yeah, I get emotional when I think about it because it was a very, it was actually a really powerful message, and it was,
Right.
yeah, it was pretty interesting. It was interesting.
Yeah. Now I know people, or I'm familiar with people that claim that have. I don't know what you want to call it. I'm sure there's a name for it, but as far as they can pick up on energy and
Yes.
zone in and focus on this particular energy, and like especially for example, um, being out in the woods this past week, there was this one individual. She was focused on hearing things and picking up on this energy. She said she was saying that there was something around or coming in. Now,
Hmm.
at, I may not have noticed or anything, but what's interesting is some of the things she talked about. I felt like got picked up in the audio because David Lester sent me some audio that he had. I haven't even gone through my audio yet, and I listened all through it. And yeah, you could hear some knocks, some rock clacking, and some movement. And oh, one thing I didn't even mention to David that I thought I heard because I mentioned it to Julie, who I sent it to Julie. I said, Julie, it sounds like there's some talking in this, and not human talking, but there sounded like there was something
An e-
there.
like an EVP or like a disembodied voice, something like that,
Yeah,
maybe.
couple short little things here and there, like, and then she listened to it. She says she appreciated me sharing that with her because she said that confirms what she was picking up on.
Hmm.
So, which
Hmm.
I thought was so cool. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I can generally, I read energy, and reading energy is not that difficult. Anybody can learn to read energy. I mean, if you think about it, you remember when we were in grade school, right? And how somebody in the back of the room is staring at the back of your head and you feel it, and then you turn around and you're like, "Oh, somebody's staring at me." It's very similar to that. It's like we all have that
yeah,
ability, we all have that ability. It's just some of us either are a little more sensitive, or we are able to kind of like, I hone in, like usually when I go into an area, the first thing that I do is I always make sure that I set an intention, you know. And I know this sounds to a lot of people, what I'm going to say tonight and the things I'm going to say tonight, a lot of people are kind of like, that's weird. But it is something that I truly, I practice every time. When I go out, as soon as I get to the location, I just introduce myself, and I'm just kind of like, hey, I'm Marty, and I'm here to be in your space, and I'm here to be respectful, and I don't mean you any harm, and I'm here for higher learning, and if you are open to an interaction, then I am also open to an interaction. And if you're not and you want to just look at a safe distance, that's okay too. But thank you for allowing me to be and share in your space. And that's literally what I do. So then I just kind of go from there. But usually usually I can tell if they're around, and usually what happens to me physically, um, I get a tightness in my chest,
mm,
almost like I can't breathe, like something's sitting on my chest, and then sometimes I'll get very nauseous. So usually when that happens, I know that they're around, and then once I feel that, then I can kind of like hone in, and I can usually tell where they are. Like if they're
right,
at my 1 o'clock, my 3 o'clock, my what, you know what I mean? Like I can usually, and there's usually never just one.
right.
It's always been two or more. In every time I've been out, it's always been two or more. Never been just one.
Yeah, and for the record, I personally don't think that's weird at all because we've had other people do the same thing and other similar things throughout being out there in the woods camping or whatnot. But um, well, I know, like for example, when we did the filming for Beast of Elkhorn Lake, uh,
Mhm.
the paranormal team that was there that actually was producing all of this, and well. Tana, Lyle's wife, she at nighttime she was standing on the back of the truck, and she just was more or less was doing a. Uh, it wasn't really an introduction, but it reminded me of what you were talking about. But she was just speaking a peace offering, more or less, letting
Hmm.
what was around, let them know that we didn't mean no harm.
Setting
We
the
love this,
intention.
right? So
Yeah.
so I thought that was very cool that they did that. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Hmm.
it's kind of like I wouldn't want somebody just to like show up at my door and invite themselves into my home.
Right. Yeah. So
Right? I mean, and that's just how I view them. I Now I know a lot of people talk about mind speak, right? And I personally I've never heard, it sounds so strange. I've never heard an audible voice. What I
mhm.
have had come into, and it's always after I leave the location. It's never while I'm there. And I think for them, it's a comfort level thing. Like if they don't know me or they're not comfortable with me because maybe they just met me or maybe that's the first time they've seen me or something like that, whatever it is, I feel like it's a comfort level for them. And soon as I get in the car and start to drive away, Patrick, hi Patrick, and I start to drive away, um, that's when I will get information. And when I say information, it's them giving me the information. And sometimes I get names. Sometimes a lot of times I'll also get pictures or images, colors, um, smells. Also, I've also had times when I've been in the middle of the swamp and I smell, Shane, hi Shane, and I'll smell lavender out of nowhere, in the middle of a swamp. And it's a very strange thing to be like out in the middle of a swamp, and it's doesn't smell so pleasant, and to just smell lavender out of nowhere. You're like, what is that about?
Oh
So
wow, yeah.
it's interesting.
Oh,
It's interesting. But
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. There's my daughter on there, Brianna, saying hi,
Hi,
Dad.
Brianna.
And then Patrick says, "I want to go out fishing. No, I want to go out with Daniel sometime in Virginia. I fish at Lake Numa. Yeah, that's about an hour west of me. So yeah, very cool.
I was just with Patrick and Shane at the
Oh yeah.
Ozark at the Ozark Mountain Bigfoot Conference and Expedition. I was just with those guys.
Oh wait, is that Shane Carpenter right there? Ozark Mountain
It
Sasquatch.
Yes, sir. It is.
Oh, okay. Well,
Thank you,
hello,
Shane.
Shane.
Thanks for
Okay.
showing up for me, Shane.
Oh, right. I'm gonna have to have you on here more often because I don't get all these other people on it.
Hey,
I
Brown
just
Dwarf. How are you, Brown Dwarf? Brown Dwarf, we were just talking about ETs and aliens a minute ago, so you missed that part.
if you watch his podcast long enough, you might have a UFO sighting. So,
There you go. There it
yeah, there
was.
you go.
There it is. There it is.
It's
Yeah, I
actually
mean,
alarm clock that I let my grandson play with. But I don't even use it. It's just I got it because it looked cool.
I just
So
think that it's interesting that, a lot of us, not all of us, but I think a lot of us, we begin down the road with just Bigfoot, right? And then
mhm.
when you're out doing your research, you tend to run into other things, right? Either another cryptid or EVPs, or a lot of people talk about orbs. I've never, as weird, I have really witnessed and experienced some of the strangest stuff in the world, and I've never seen an orb. I have no idea. Like I never ever saw any kind of an orb,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
haven't
like
either.
I'm hoping maybe one day. I don't know. You never know.
Right.
But no orbs for me.
Yeah, because I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. I mean, I know there's some people that said they actually literally have seen them while being out there. But
Uh-huh.
my biggest peeve is when people just post pictures of them, and where those can be easily ruled out or dismissed.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
pic, when it comes to stuff like that, pictures like that. I mean, I'm just being honest. Pictures to me don't always do justice. I mean, they don't do justice on a lot of things, but but when you see stuff like that in a picture, for
Hmm.
example, one in one of my past campouts, I took pictures of the woods at nighttime. You know, and then the other guy with me had a regular actual camera. He started snapping a bunch of pictures.
Hmm.
His actually picked up a bunch of these speckled orbs, and mine was clear as could be. And then I shared it to some paranormal people. You know what they told me? I said, "Those are
Lens
dust
flare.
particles."
Yeah,
Yeah,
dust
he said,
particles or lens flares. Yes, yes.
"Yeah." And the reason why my phone didn't pick them up, he said, because my camera's better than what he. That's what I was told. So,
Oh my gosh, my
but
contact is like, what is Shane's comment? That's because orbs and
it,
oh.
bro,
Okay.
backwards, Marty. That's true.
Gotcha.
That's true.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't, I know here's another thing though that I'm very big on. Like if you have a piece of equipment and you take it out there, know know how it works. Because if
Hmm.
you don't know how it works, you can fool your own self, just
Oh
like with those
yeah.
photos, right? Like if you like my cell phone camera at night, like I have to make sure like that like the flashes and all, like it's so sensitive and it'll pick up everything and anything that's out there. And that's why at nighttime I don't usually use it. It's just a lot of anomalies happen that are normal, but you don't know if they're normal unless you know your equipment, right? Because you want
Hmm.
to always start when you're looking at your evidence, you want to always start where? At the very basic, right? You want to start at the very
Oh yeah.
beginning. Instead of like, oh, in a photo, you're seeing something and you're jumping to the fantastical right away. Instead of saying, well, wait a minute, is that like a stump? Maybe is that a tree? Was there a bunch of leaves there? I mean, instead of just kind of going home and being like, oh, there it is. I see a shadow and I'm going to circle
Oh
it. And you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like a lot of people don't start at the beginning.
right.
They don't try to debunk anything. It's like always like they jump from here to there instead of looking at, looking at the most simplest or the most scientific answer first. And then
Right.
once you've kind of worked out all of those, you're like, okay, well, is it a lens flare? No, it can't be that. Okay, well, is it a dust particle? Okay, no, nope, it's not that. Okay, is it a bug? Nope, I don't think it's that. Is it? And then once you go through all of that and you're left with nothing at the end, and you go, maybe that is a UFO, or maybe that is an orb, because you've gone through everything else, then I get it. Then I get it. If you get to that conclusion, when you get to it's an orb, it's because you've already checked all your other boxes. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Shane said you just can't use red circles. Try yellow. Yeah.
actually, actually, I did a show on with Hidden Existence on with Daniela on Hidden Existence, and when we did a show on pareidolia. I actually used pink. I think I used pink, pink or purple. I was like, I don't want to use
Yeah. Red's too common.
red. Yeah.
Yeah. um. What's this? Okay. Tiffany said, "Yeah, the whole spectrum of colors. LOL. Everyone always goes red."
Everybody goes red.
Mm,
Why
yeah.
red?
I
But
don't
you
know.
know,
I guess because it stands out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're talking about as far as talking about equipment and how sometimes equipment that we have it tends to produce things that are not real, where sometimes they're just reflection and optical illusion. For example, I know I spoke about this before because I discovered this playing around at camp by myself using a headlamp, turning on the red lights, take a picture of yourself, or sometimes you can see it actually. And this ain't always the case, but sometimes you can see it, and when you get ready to take your picture, you'll see the reflection. But then again, you won't always till after you take the picture. And I've taken a picture of myself wearing with the red light on the headlamp on, and
Hmm.
off to my side in the picture, it looks like a set of red glowing eyes, and it's actually the reflection and the angle of the lens, reflecting off the camera. And it's interesting that because I actually made a funny post after I had that done. I made it look like I was like on a Scooby Doo show, saying "zoinks," because there was a set of red eyes on me. And again, it was from my headlamp and the reflection from the lens. I've actually done that on more than one occasion, and where I don't know, like I said, it's interesting. The other thing is on game cameras. Game cameras is very notorious.
Hmm.
I've seen this on my own, and I've seen it from others because they find it very mysterious. Um, Sometimes you'll have a deer standing there, and then you'll have what appears to be a set of eye shine in the background that looks might be
Hmm.
setting up a little tall, and it's the eye shine of the deer reflecting and basically
Reflecting off.
bouncing off. Yep.
Hmm.
And same thing with a if you put your on trail cam, and again, it really depends on the camera. I don't know if this is on low quality cameras or what. It's actually I've actually found this on higher expensive cameras, and well, right now I've been using cheap cameras that are really good. I've been testing out these cheap cameras, and I found a set that I really like right now, and they really produce great quality. But um, for example, nighttime, not just the deer standing there, but if you set it on video mode, there's what appears to be the deer walking, and the next you know, it looks like something trailing it, like a ghostly figure walk, almost in the same pattern. I've
Hmm.
seen this. Yeah, I've seen this posted by people, and it's like I said, it's a delayed reflection. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's coming from the camera.
Yeah.
So so there's these. I don't want to call them. Yeah, they are kind of like an optical illusion, um, but it's the tricks of the camera. So
But that's where knowing your equipment comes into play, right? Because you can you can debunk things by knowing what your equipment can and cannot do, right?
right. Oh
You know,
yeah.
and believe it or not, if you just Google, like if you Google your brand, whatever anybody's using, if you Google your brand of camera, the phone that you're using, or whatever equipment it is, you can kind of like you can put in there, like orbs that show up on whatever, XYZ camera, or anomalies that can show up in photos from that camera. Yes, Shane, light refraction. So you can Google a lot of that, and you can actually yourself look at. Sometimes it'll be a lot of like photos. It'll show photos showing the different things that can happen, or the different like anomalies that can take place in your photos from that particular camera. And then you can kind of judge too, you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of us forget that Google is there. I think that
Yeah.
they do, because like I see people will post, and Shane and I've talked about this. You know, I see a lot of people who will post a lot of tracks, animal tracks, wildlife tracks, and they misidentify them.
Yep.
A lot of misidentification. Now,
Absolutely.
a simple Google search is, take a picture of the print, or cast it, whatever you want to do with it. But before you go and post it, go to Google, and then whatever animal you think it is, see if it matches. Because I have seen people post things like oh, this is a panther track. I found this panther track today, and it had, it had nails. Like it was a canine print. It's like a lot of, it's a misidentification. Not that the person, didn't find a print, the person found a print. They just misidentified what kind of animal made the print. That's all. So I didn't say anything, but I'm just saying I try to point that out to people. Like, you have to utilize our tools that we have. The internet's an amazing thing, right? So if you don't
Oh yeah.
have, if you don't have field guides like what you've created, like the ones you
Right.
have, right? If we don't have
Yeah.
those in our backpack, it happens. People do misidentified things. So
Oh yeah, you're right. There's so many other helpful and useful tools out there. There's actually like what you're talking about, doing a Google
yes,
search on tracks. There's
yes,
actually apps out there where people could put their picture in there and they could identify that track.
yep, yep.
Um, I mean, you could do that with plants and flowers. So well, actually, some of us were doing that out there at camp because we see these cool flowers that grow in the wild and other
Hmm.
weird plants. And it's like, oh, okay, that's this. So yeah, you could do the same thing with tracks. The other option is download the what's it reverse image app.
That's right.
It'll
Yep.
it'll point you to what that is also. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting and useful tools out there.
There
So
really are. There really are. There's, the plant that, like, because what I also noticed too, like, because what I do in my job, right? I need to be able to identify a lot of plants, right? So even in your, like, if you have an iPhone, because I have an iPhone, I don't know how it works or how it would work for an Android phone, but like, if you take a picture of a plant and then you pull it up on your phone and you look at that photo, if you touch the photo and you hit information, a little leaf will show up and it'll say identify the plant, and then it'll tell you the name of the plant. It'll tell you exactly what the plant is. So it's actually built into your, like, phone now, into your iPhone now. So you don't even have to get an additional, you know, um, you know, like, additional app. It's like literally in attached to your photos, in your photos now. It's like an additional thing. It's pretty cool.
right. Well, I know if I'm taking a picture of like some type of food or something, yeah, it
Mhm.
shows up. If I hold the camera on it long enough, it's identifying what it is. It
Yeah.
shows up in a little on my. I have an Android, so, but yeah,
So that's how it works on the Android phones.
yeah, it's like there's a little slide will come across the bottom of the picture. So yeah, it'll show food and then blah blah blah. I haven't really paid too much attention to it, but
Thank you,
so.
Shane. Shane loves to tease me because I will not go. I will not go Android. No, no, can't do it. Can't do
Oh
it. He loves to tease me.
yeah, I love my Android. I use an Android myself, so.
I can't do it. My job tried to give me an Android phone, and I was so lost. I was like, I kept going to IT going, I can't, I don't know how to do this. Like, it got
Yeah.
so annoying. They were like, okay, we're just going to order you an iPhone, Marty. Okay. We're just going to get you an iPhone. I'm like, okay, that works for me.
Mm. Grasshopper said, "I have a Walmart phone that will only identify the people at Walmart."
Oh, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. Because some of the people at Walmart, or at least down here, they're very sketchy. They very, very sketchy. So yeah,
Yeah, I think that might be Walmart in general.
it might be. It might be. It might be.
Yeah, your average decent person can't get hired at Walmart, but they'll hire everybody with I
It's
don't know
scary.
I don't know. Yeah, looks like
It's
people come to the hire. Yeah, they hire people that's ready for Halloween, dressed for Halloween.
But I will tell you the most beautiful Walmart I've ever saw in my whole life. Matt and I last year went to the North Georgia mountains, and we walked into this Walmart. I have never seen everything on every shelf was nice and clean and neat and perfect and gorgeous. The floors were clean, like everything was clean. And we were looking at each other going, we're walking around the store getting like, our firewood and getting like our like last minute, so little food, whatever. And I'm looking at him, he's looking at me, and we're like, holy cow. And the whole time, people thought we were crazy because we're walking around the whole Walmart going, oh, look how clean it is. Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh wow, look at that. Like we're literally taking pictures of the shelves because we're like, oh my gosh. We were like, it was crazy. Down here, it doesn't look like that. Let me tell you, it is not. It is not. It is a hot mess every Walmart down here. Too many people.
Yeah. What do we got here? Hold on. Grasshopper says, if you depend on your phone for squatching, you limit yourself. So get a real camera with a manual lens zoom. Of course, I'm old from the ancient system that still works. Huh.
Yeah, when Matt and I would go out, we would. Matt always had his Canon. Because he is a professional. He's got a Canon. I'm not sure exactly which model it is, but he has a Canon. And then I would use my phone. So we would that way we kind of do both. And then for audio, I do have a Zoom recorder. I do have a Zoom recorder, which I had with me in Missouri. And don't ask me why I didn't have it out the night that all that stuff went down. But I didn't. I let it had what like it. This storm came through, and I had it in the tent, so I pulled it out of the tent and I put it in the car. And then after the storm, I forgot to grab it out of the car. But anyways, I have a Zoom recorder. But what I really like to use is my Apple iWatch. I
Mm.
literally can I just literally when I get ready to go into an area, I'll just hit record on my watch. And I'm telling you what, the audio is super clear, it's super crisp. You can hear, I mean, sometimes like if I could be hiking and I don't in real time hear a knock or a whistle or anything. And then when I listen to it later, I'll hear it. Sometimes I'll pick up stuff. It's unbelievable. It really how well it works.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that makes sense because at least when you're listening for it, you're actually focused on wanting to hear what
Yep.
might be there, what happened.
Hmm.
Um, I know in some instances, like at camp, depends how early in the evening it is. You got people gathered around the fire, everybody's chit chatting or
Hmm.
whatever, and then you know, I'm not saying I'm the only one, but sometimes I'm trying to listen. Like I've heard things where people are chatting away in the past, and I was like, if I get to hear something really exciting, I'll tell everybody, well, hey, I'll tell them, hey, stop, listen, you know, because I've heard things where people just continue to carry on in conversation.
Hmm.
But yeah, sometimes I don't know. Because when I'm out there, especially when it gets dark, when the night falls, I mean, it's like my ears usually become like satellites, like or enhanced more. Like I'm trying to
Yeah.
listen for stuff, but and it's hard to do because, like I said, everyone's chatting and having a good old time, and I don't want to stop that because that's what they're there for, So
Yep.
um,
But
so
it's good to just kind of as a practice though. But you're right, like as a practice to like, take a break and just listen and listen
yeah,
and just because when you're still and you're quiet, that's to me, that's when the magic happens for me anyways.
right,
I do that. I mean, down here, and it's happened to me where I've like it's like after I go to bed and I lay there and I'm just laying there quiet and I'm just listening and I'm just listening. And I've had interactions where I could hear them literally feet away, and they're just in that tree line, and they're just pelting just one side of the tent, with like little pine cones, just, and then they'd stop, and then it would be like one, two, and then nothing, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what I mean? Like you just
Yeah.
and through like the entire night. And I'm just kind of like, I enjoy it. I enjoy that. I enjoy just laying there and listening to what's happening, because it tells me a lot about their behavior. It tells me a lot about what they like to do. And it's because it's almost as if they were that, like this one particular night, it was in Mayaka that it happened actually. It was very kind of almost like wake up, wake. It just seemed like they were trying to get us up to come out. It seemed like it was just, I don't know if that was their intent, but it seemed to me like it was trying to get our attention. Because we had nothing above our tent, right? There were no trees above the tent. They were, we were really, because I like to always be up against the wood line. I love to be right up against the wood line. So we were about 4 feet away from the wood line. That's how close we were. And I always sleep, and I always like to be the one who sleeps closest on that side of the tent. I like it. I don't know. I just find it, I don't know. I feel like if I'm that way, I'm closer to the action. I don't know.
Right.
That's just me. I'm weird that way though. I like all weird stuff. And so Matt was like on the other side, and I was like trying to get Matt, wake him up, because he slept through the whole thing. And I'm like, okay. But I got it all on audio. I have it all on audio. So
Okay.
yeah.
So Shane was asking you this question. He said the last question was meant for you. I'm
Oh,
not sure.
what question?
The one I have on the screen.
Was followed by what storm? That was fun. Oh, oh, yeah, we had a bad storm in Missouri on the expedition. And
And
then after that, yeah, right after the storm, a few hours later, after everybody finally went to go to bed, then yeah, we had some happenings. We had some happenings going on.
okay.
And I had a tent mate that she got very, very, she got very scared. Shane, can I talk about it? I don't know. Shane has to say yes or no if I can actually tell the story. I don't know. I don't want to
Yeah, I don't think he
put
would
her on the
mind because
spot.
yeah,
Okay.
he's saying to
Okay.
put you on the spot. So
Okay. So what happened was, so we this crate here. Here the original plan was Shane was going to have us ladies, uh, take us ladies up to a sassafras patch, right? And we were us ladies were gonna just kind of sit there in that sassafras patch and kind of do what ladies do, right? Talk, joke around, giggle, have some fun, conversation, get a little loud, kind of thing. And we were gonna see like if maybe something would come in. That was the plan that night. And all of a sudden, Shane comes up and we're all around the campfire, and Shane's like, "Hey guys, we're going to get about 30 minutes of rain. So, if everybody wants to kind of go and put away whatever you need to put away, it should last about 30 minutes and blow through and be done." Well, my word, it was way more than just, a quick little, like, yeah, it, 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 it was like a monsoon happened. It went
mm,
crazy, crazy. I was actually, we were in the car and kind of writing it out, because I was like, oh, let's just go in the tent. We'll write it on the tent. And my tent mate was like, oh no, let's just get in the car. And I'm like, all right, we'll get in the car. So we get in the car, and I started like videoing my tent in this like storm, because all of a sudden it was like the winds were whipping around like crazy. the rain was coming in like sideways. It was, and then all of a sudden we realized that Randy's tent and his pop up right outside the tent is he's outside trying to hold it down that it doesn't blow away. Shane and then him finally realized, you know, it's like, like the cook's tent got all toppled over. Like it was this really wild storm that
Wow.
happened. It was crazy. And then
Mm.
everybody was just kind of checking on everybody else, making sure everybody was great. And then we all, we kind of went to bed and we woke up and well, I never really I never went to sleep actually. But yeah, so we saw, we saw Shadow and a few times and I knew what it was and we could hear it was bipedal, we could hear it walking, we could hear it come around the tent and it was really for my tent mate, it was the first time she kind of had ever been in that situation. So for her, she was very nervous and she's she was very nervous. She was very afraid in the beginning. And I'm like, calm down. I'm like, because I'm just really calm that way. I don't in a stressful, high stress situation, I get super calm because I have to assess what's going on. So, I had to just trying to get her to calm down. And once she kind of like, because I literally just said to her, I'm like, look, this is what we're here for. Like, it's okay.
Right.
This is what we're here for. And then it was kind of like, oh yeah, that's right. This is what we're here for. And then it was just really interesting, that we weren't the only ones, thank goodness, we weren't the only ones that heard it. There were many people in the on the expedition that had a piece of the puzzle, you know. But the best part was, the next morning when everybody kind of got up and got out of their tents and we got to piece it together. And we are going to tell the full story on Sunday night, actually, on Blondes and Booze podcast. Shane and Randy and I are going to be on their podcast, and we're going to talk about the entire thing from beginning to end. And there were multiple people that were involved in this encounter. And Shane's the only one that really knows the entire picture because he was able to. He's like a little detective out there, because he's an expert tracker and he was able to piece it all together for us. So
Mm.
it's really kind of cool how it all came together and be backed up by solid evidence found in the key places where somebody experienced this. Shane was able to back it up with evidence. So it's pretty amazing to hear that encounter. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that Sunday night, the full
Very.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. And what podcast will that be on?
The Blondes and Booze.
Oh, okay. Oh, great podcast. Yeah, I've been on there before.
Yep. Yep.
Very
Yeah.
awesome. Okay. Yeah, those girls are good. They're a good bunch of girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a real interesting, and Daniel Perez. Yep, Daniel Perez was there, and he stayed out there with us on the expedition. So he was also, able to, kind of be a part of that process the morning after, trying to decipher what had happened, and so yeah, it was really for me. I got to be straight. Don't tell Shane. But for me, the coolest part of the entire process was watching Shane. Like watching Shane do what Shane does. I was such a fangirl. I was geeking out on watching Shane do his thing. I was like following him around. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So cool. Like it was awesome. It was really cool to watch Shane, work all of that out and to do that. It was cool.
Awesome. Well, we won't mention or say nothing to Shane that you just said that while he's listening. So,
Shane
uh,
knows that I am like his number one fan. Shane knows that. He knows
I'm
I
sure
am
he's
like
I'm sure he's blushing right now, like all
he's such
golly
a
gee.
he's such a he's such a good friend. He's such a good friend to me, and I'm blessed every day, every day, every day. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. You say, yeah, I am. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's very cool.
yeah, Daniel
Oh.
Perez is going to be his the Bigfoot Times. If you're not already, like, subscribe to the newsletter, the Bigfoot Times, definitely go and do that. I think it's like 20. I'm sorry, my allergies, my nose is running and my allergies are acting up. My apologies, everybody. I'm like, I'm not sick. It's just allergies. Um,
Oh.
uh, Daniel is going to be doing the October newsletter about our entire encounter and our entire, like, the storm and the conference and the research and the evidence collecting and the witness and all these things, like everything is he's doing. I think it's pretty much the entire newsletter that
Mm.
will be coming out. Shane, I can't remember if it's next week or the week after, but he's doing the whole entire, if I understand it correctly, all of October on this, on, at the conference and the expedition and the encounter.
Okay.
So
Very
yeah.
good. So, apart from your experiences and the activity that took place out in Missouri,
Mhm.
have you had any other experiences elsewhere?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I've had experiences in the Green Swamp, Colt Creek, Big Cypress, um, there's another little place I like to go to, like down by Dave Shealy's place down in
Mm.
Ochopee. Also up near Lake Okeechobee. Um,
Okay.
there's a few places that I like to go to that are my favorite spots that are that are in Palm Beach County,
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah. So, and Mayaca. So I've kind of been in a lot of, I've been in Torreya. I didn't, well, in Torreya, here's the weird thing. In Torreya State Park, we didn't, the day that we went hiking, because we went with Stacy Brown, and he took us to the spot where he filmed his thermal footage.
Oh,
Now,
yeah. Right.
but interestingly enough, we were waiting for Stacy, and there's a house there, and I can't remember the name of it. I actually have it on my channel. I actually have it up on my channel, but it's so hard to hear, and I don't have a program to amplify the sound, like to amplify it. But there's a house, there's like a historical house next to where we were getting the trail we were going to take. So we went to check out this house, and as we were walking up to the house, and we were going to go do a little ghost thing before Stacy got there, and you clearly hear a whistle. You clearly hear it, but you have to have headphones on. And I don't, like I said, I don't have equipment to bring it out more or whatever, like to isolate it and all that. I don't have that, but we heard a whistle there. That was the only thing I heard there in Torreya. It is beautiful. Um, it was hard for me to actually hike that day because I didn't know we were going to go hiking. I didn't have my hiking boots. I didn't have my snake boots. I had just tennis shoes on, and it was very muddy that day. I ended up slipping and falling face first. So that's also on my channel. If you want to go check that out, that's pretty doggone funny actually, because Connor Flynn was behind me and caught the whole thing on film.
Oh,
but
wow.
I got back up and I finished that hike. Finished that hike.
Nice.
Yeah, there's no crying in Bigfoot for me. So,
So, what would you say is your most memorable or exciting events that you've experienced?
I have a few. I have a few. I would say my daytime sighting that I had here in, you know, that I had here in Big Cypress, because it felt very, I know it sounds crazy, but it was very, for me, it was very, very, I think I am a magnet, Shane. I think I am. Um, it was very spiritual for me. I know a lot of people, and I'm not saying that there aren't trauma, like trauma from some people's encounters. I'm not saying that there aren't bad encounters, or that people, that people don't, that people don't get traumatized by their encounters, but I didn't. It was like, it was a spirit. It was really a spiritual moment for me, because when our eyes locked, it felt calm. It just felt peace. It just felt like, I don't know, it was a beautiful moment for me. It really, really was. It was not something that I didn't feel an ounce of anything other than just peace and calm. I wanted it to last so much longer. Like, I wanted it to just keep going. And I, it didn't last that long, but I wanted it to. And it just looked human to me. It just looked like a human with soft, like ashy, kind of like gray skin and auburn hair. It had a round head. It didn't have like a conical head. It didn't look like Patty. It didn't look like, I mean, I know that Patty is absolutely beloved, but that's not what I saw. What I saw was very kind of lanky, kind of basketball player type look to it. Very, just human. It looked human. It didn't look like Patty at all. Nothing like Patty.
Right. The one thing you mentioned that I could so relate with, the feeling of the calmness and everything that you were feeling during this whole situation.
Mhm.
I tell people that's how it was for me in my 2014 encounter. And I don't know. I mean, I could kind of, I guess I could contribute that to, or that might have been because I wasn't alone. I don't know. Maybe if I was alone, could I have felt different? Very possible. But because
Mhm.
there was five other people with me that witnessed all this together, yeah, I didn't feel scared. I mean, it was, I mean, yeah, it was exciting, but there was this calming feeling about it. You
Mhm.
know, we didn't feel threatened at all. We felt like they were just curious of us as we were of
Right.
them. So,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
so and
Exactly.
again,
That's definitely, I view them to be more curious than anything else. But listen, there's tons of people that do report very scary encounters. So I'm not going to say that they don't happen. I'm just saying it wasn't that way for me.
right,
So it's hard for me to kind of relate to that, like even my nighttime, like I had a nighttime sighting in 1986, and that it's kind of strange. Like I wasn't afraid. I just didn't know exactly what it was I was looking at, because this thing definitely was bigger, bulkier, much bigger, much bulkier, round head, but it came the strangest. It's very weird, and because we were driving on a levee, so out here in Florida, it's like they're just like it's like a forest road, right? Except it's like it slopes down, and on each side is going to be, sometimes it'll be a canal on one side, and then the other side will be maybe sawgrass, right? Or both sides will be sawgrass. So, and they're pretty steep, I'd say. it depending on where you're at. I mean, it could be, anywhere from 10 to 12 feet to get to the bottom, either, on each side. So it came up on all fours. So when it came up on all, and it was nighttime, we were out there looking for snakes during the winter time. We would go out there looking for, snakes that would come to the top of the gravel road to warm up. Right. So we're just driving super slow looking for snakes. So our eyes are like focused on the road. And it came up it was on all fours. It came up and kind of crawled up. And then I know it's so weird to try to describe, because it's almost like it came up on all fours. And then as it started to stand up, it took it's like in one motion, it was like its leg was already up, like coming up, took one step in the middle of the road, and then it stopped, turned, looked at us, and then with another step, it was down off the other side.
Oh, wow.
So it was much bigger than the other one that my daytime sighting. It was much larger. I mean, this one had to be 8.5 feet. It was much larger. So, but the strangest part, and this is why I think I got scared, because I wasn't scared until when it looked at us. Its eyes, they were red. They were like illuminated red, though, not eye shine, because it was standing above the car lights. You know what I mean? Above the headlights. So it wasn't eye shine. They were literally glowing from the inside out red, which is super weird. That's what kind of scared me, because when it first came up, I thought it was a bear. And then in my mind, I'm going, wait, where we're at, there are no bear. And I'm like, oh, it must be a black panther. And then as that thought came into my mind, it starts to do that stand up thing. And I'm going, that's not a panther. And then looks at us with these strange, weird red eyes. And then it's gone. And I'm like, okay, back up. Because, it's like you can't, on these levees, you can't turn around. Like, it's only big enough for one vehicle. So you have to either go all the way to the end and turn around and go back, or you have to reverse. And I'm like, yeah, we're not going that way. You got to back it up. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go back and reverse. Hopefully you don't go drop down on either side.
Exactly. That's what I know. I'm like, no, we're not. I don't know what that was. Because eventually, that it isn't this, like your mind starts taking off what right?
Right.
What the animals that are there. And when it doesn't fit into any of those boxes, you're like, what are you left with? You're like, okay, but those red eyes. I mean, I didn't tell people for a really long time. Even my kids, we used to take our kids out there and go camping out there. And we would tell them, and I know everybody's going to think I'm like the worst parent in the world. I don't want people to think that my children weren't safe, because they were safe. But we would take them camping, and they would they would sleep in the back of the truck, under a tarp. And they would, we would tell them, don't get out of the truck, because if you do, the skunk apes will get you. And I never really told them my story, my sighting. We never told them. And I never told my kids until many, many years later. Many, many years later. Yeah. So.
Like, Mom, if we go camping again, it's going to be at the beach.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I often think about this. Like, sometimes when any of us see something out of the ordinary, something like a Sasquatch or any weird animal, or it's like when we're mesmerized by what we're seeing, sometimes our minds are like flying through, kind of like a computer does when you're trying to look something up. It's got to reach that data. We're trying to register. Our minds are trying to register, or in some cases, like a phone that's got a low signal and is buffering, waiting for something to load. That's
Yep.
I mean, our minds like what we're like kind of like
Yeah.
just caught off guard, till we register
Mhm.
what we're seeing or what we believe we're seeing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's wild.
because you have to like your mind, you're like you're right, because you're like you're trying so hard to figure out what box to put it in, because you have no reference for what you just saw, right?
Right.
Zero. Zero. Because even the I'll show you what mine looked like. Hold on. Okay, the story behind this is at the Ocala conference this year. Do you know who Mark Muncy is?
I've heard the name, but I'm not really sure.
So Mark Muncy is he does a lot of like folklore. He's an author. He's done a lot of books. He's been in a lot of like documentaries and about like Robert the Doll and all different kinds of things. So, but his wife is an artist. Actually, this is one of her prints also. So this is hers, and I had that from the Lakeland conference. Uh-oh.
No, I'm here. I'm
Oh,
listening.
you're there? Okay.
I put you on solo to make the
Okay,
screen
so you
bigger.
can okay, good. All right. So I'm at the Ocala conference. I run into Mark Muncy again, and Mark Muncy's a local boy, or a guy. So he's from Florida, and I know him. And I'm over and I'm talking to him in Gatlinburg now. So now I run into him in Gatlinburg. So I met him at Lakeland, Ocala. Now I see him in Gatlinburg. And I'm flipping through his wife's, art, because I love her art. She's so talented. I come across this photo. And it stopped me dead in my tracks. I looked at it. I was like, holy cow. I'm like, all of a sudden I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I saw. Like, that is what I saw. And I said to Mark, I said, are some of these from like eyewitness accounts, like that she drew from a witness description? And he said, yeah. He goes, that one right there is Dave Shealy's. I said, what? Because where I had my sighting in Big Cypress was very close to where Dave got you know, his footage. Not far at all. So I said, well, I have to buy it. So, but this is, let me see if I can get, hold on.
Oh
There.
yeah, yeah.
But
I think I
that's
seen that. I think I seen the guy in a rock show one time.
right.
Nah,
But
no, that's
I'm
awesome though.
sorry. It's not like coming
Oh no,
up
it's showing pretty good.
Is it? Okay. There
Yeah,
is a little better. But that is what I saw. And I s-
that's
and
awesome.
it blew my mind. It just blew my mind. And how she kind of drew it with like the plants around it, like just very like calm and like serene. And I was like, oh, oh my God, like I couldn't believe it. And then she even has like a description on the back, that talks about that it was from Dave Shealy. And I didn't even look at that. I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And he goes, yeah, that's Dave Shealy's. And I'm like, oh my God. So yeah,
Wow.
I have to get it framed. Right now it's taped to my wall till I can get a frame. But
Yeah,
but I found it really interesting.
that's
His
incredible.
his description and what she put down is exactly what I saw. It blew my mind. Blew my mind. Blew my mind.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Um, I guess what I'm trying to say, it gives you the extra reinsurance, like
The
confirmation.
validation, the
Yeah.
validation. Yes, confirmation,
Yep.
validation.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to say, hey, I'm not crazy. That is what I saw.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome for me. Like I said,
Absolutely.
yeah, it was a spiritual moment for me. So,
Oh, and one thing I do want to mention, I should have mentioned this earlier when we started, but um, your YouTube channel, if anyone is not familiar with it and wants to go and subscribe, it is in the description of this, by the way. So,
awesome.
um,
Yep.
but I've had it in here. So, but yeah, it's actually under your name, the NonnaBoss. Is that correct?
Yep. Yep, yep. You can find me on Instagram. I have a Facebook page, my YouTube channel, everything. I have a TikTok, but I haven't really used it in a really long time. But everything is just at the Nonna Boss.
Yeah, I yeah, I use TikTok, but I usually mainly do it for promotional purposes. I used to do a lot of silly, goofy things on it, but I just took advantage of it. Well, let me
Yeah.
share flyers and promos on it, and it does help. It really does. TikTok, I mean, it gets a lot of views. If you use the right hashtags and whatnot, and it definitely will get some views on there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and Shane mentioned that picture adds a lot of context. Nice. So yeah,
Thanks, Shane.
absolutely,
Yeah. Yeah. It was really cool.
most definitely. Yeah, I need to get Shane on here one of these days because he does have some credible evidence. I've seen some of the tracks he had found and that he
Yes.
shared publicly in the past. So
Hmm.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Shane and Randy's work is for me, their research is I've always said this. I have always been supportive of them because I know that they are science based, like in their research, it's very evidence based and it's consistent. And I feel like Shane and Randy are taking their research to the next level because for me, next level isn't proving they exist. I'm a knower, right? I'm a knower. For me, next level is communication and contact for me.
Hmm.
And I feel like if there's anybody out there who's at that at that stage where they're ready to just bump it to the next level for contact and communication, it's going to be them.
Right.
I
Oh
really believe.
yeah.
Yeah. Through consistency in their research area, like in the 400, it is not a part-time thing. This is where their research is based, is the 400. So they have access to other things in other places, I'm sure, but that's really their research area. So, you know, many years of consistent evidence collecting has really their data driven research is unmatched in my opinion.
Right. Nice. Well, I'm going to tell you what, Marty. We're getting ready to come to a close, but one thing I like to do at the end of my podcast is let the guests throw out anything they want to share, promote, just whatever you feel like saying. Um, but before we do that, I want to thank everybody for coming on and listening.
Yes.
And if you're not subscribed, I would really appreciate it. Feel free to subscribe and make sure you click that little bell icon. But the
Yes.
floor is yours, Marty. Take it away.
you know just yeah, come subscribe to my channel. I mean, I try really hard to bring really good information. I love to talk to experiencers and researchers. I also throw in a lot of like sciency type stuff and track. I did a show on tracking. I did a show on drones. I did a show, like I love to bring very, information that people can use in the field, in their everyday lives, in their research. I love talking to researchers. I love to pick brains and I love to know, what makes them tick and what their research is about and what they focus on. And I feel like, you know, I feel like it's very well rounded. I feel like my channel is very well rounded in that way. And I just would encourage everybody to come and check out my, check out my show.
Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
And
Thank you for
if
having
you're
me so much,
oh
Daniel. Really. Thank you.
it was a
It's been
pleasure.
fun.
Well, thank you for having me on this past Wednesday. So
It's a
so
blast.
yeah, we had I know I had a good time. I really did. It was a great time, and
Mhm.
yes, but yeah, having Michael there with us as well. That I thought that
Yep.
went pretty well. So
It did go really
yeah.
well. It did go really well.
Absolutely. And I'll
Yeah.
throw it out there. If you're up for a road trip come October 13th and 14th, yeah, 13th and 14th, I think. No, it was the 14th, 13th and 14th in South Carolina, the Bigfoot Festival in Westminster.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
We'll
know.
see. I don't know. I'll have to
Yeah.
map quest that sucker. See what it is. I don't know
Okay.
how many hours that is for me. I'd have
Yeah,
to
I
check
know.
it out.
It might be. See, it's for me here in Virginia. Like I said, when I put it in the map quest or Google Maps, it's usually 6 hours. It's 6 hours one way and 7 hours another way. Depends on which way I go down. I can go down along the west side or split over to the central part of the state, North
Mhm.
Carolina, and drive down through there. But yeah, it all depends. So I don't know. It
Yeah.
might be around this because I know from Florida. I guess it depends like where my sister lives in Florida to Virginia. That's probably about a good 10 to 12 hour drive. I'm guessing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
I don't know.
but
I'll have to check it out though. I will. I'll look. I'll see. I'll see if it's possible, if it's doable. If it's doable, I'll do
okay.
it. Yeah.
It is like I said, it's an outdoor festival. They do it every October, and it started off as only a 1 day event, but they started off doing a 2 day event last year, and yeah, Friday had an amazing turnout. Of course, Saturday is a big turnout, but yeah, they're a very great event. They're growing. They're getting bigger and bigger. I mean,
That's awesome.
they try to get a count on everybody. I think it was last year or the year before. They actually put up barcodes for everybody. For people to scan. Nobody did that, but so they can only go by estimation. But I don't know.
Right.
They had a good 15 to 20,000 people roughly around that.
Nice.
Yeah. So
That's a
I
lot
mean,
of
to me
people.
that is it's the whole bit. I mean, it covers the whole street. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah, they have tons of vendors. Food trucks and yeah, Friday. Well, see, they usually do a little parade in the beginning. They were doing it Saturday morning. Last year they did the parade Friday before everything started, which I personally didn't think that was quite a good idea. They should have done it Saturday before, like early in the morning before the event officially started, because
Hmm.
it's just last year the parade was very small compared to what they had in the past. But I don't know, maybe they will get better or get more participants with the parade. I don't know, but the parade was fun. I participated in the first year I attended that event, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
But
I'll check it out. I'll check it out. I'll see if it's doable.
well, unless you want to just wait till next June and come up to my event, so
Yeah, I could
that's
do that too.
yeah, every June. Yeah, I host my event every June. Next year will be June 14th and 15th. So yeah, I got to meet with my committee team actually next weekend. So we already have guest speakers. We're going to be announcing them soon because I messaged them that not long ago. I said I'm ready to announce the Bigfoot encrypted side of things, and they're in
Nice.
charge. Yeah, they're in charge of adding the paranormal in there because we're gonna have some special paranormal guests in there, and
Cool.
so yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Our annual event is growing. This past June event was very successful, so
All right.
so yeah, we
Yeah.
encourage everybody to check it out. Again, I mean, there's the website, the Facebook event page. I've been adding more information in there. Of course, we're looking for vendors. We already have so many vendors already signed up. We still got tons of room for them. So, and it's early
That's
yet,
great.
but yeah, they'll be flooding in before long. So,
Okay.
so, but
Absolutely.
again, yeah, and I share and promote things as much as possible. So.
Yeah.
But
Thank
again,
you.
thank you again for coming on. And
Anytime.
yeah, I will definitely have you on again when we have one of our other open roundtable discussions. So um,
Anytime.
again, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank
Everybody
you.
else, thank you again, and
Thanks, everybody.
Yes, we'll see you guys again soon. All right.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.